Sometimes I think this house ought to be called the house of secondhand stores, or the house that thrift stores built, because almost everything I have now is things I've picked up over the years here and there in little junk shops or little secondhand stores or different places.
Now we're in the city, in a studio condo with college professor Dudley Sherburne among her heirlooms and bargains.
I was born in Alabama, and I was born in 1929, so I grew up in the Depression. I don't think anybody in my family had anything quite like what I have, but I think a lot of the things I have come from the taste of my mother and my grandparents. My mother, she was pretty much a liberated woman. She always was, and she really loved modern things. So I think my taste in terms of Art Deco comes from my mother. My father's people were very well off. We always had this weekends at my grandparents' house where we saw lots of nice things, and I suppose those together helped my taste. A lot of the pieces here were cast-offs, things that people didn't want, you know, and I would take them and say, I think I can use that. There's a little Art Deco here, there's a little 50s here, there's some old pieces you'll notice. This armoire over here is an 1870s piece that a friend of mine in St. Louis called me one day, and she said, if you don't come get this thing, I'm gonna throw it away. Because she said, when I was a little girl, every time I ran through the house, my grandmother would say, don't run or that'll fall on you. As you can see, I like to just mix stuff up, whatever comes along that's, first I guess it has to be utilitarian. Has to be something, in this little house, everything has to be utilitarian. This is a card catalog I got from where I taught at school, and it is used for wine. I store wine in it. You know, it's got nice little champagne flutes and wine glasses, and when I have a big party and serve drinks, I use this for a bar. So it really does a lot for a small piece of furniture. I really think this furniture is part of just capturing the taste and the feel of Art Deco and the kind of 40s exuberance that was going on in the 40s, which was certainly my personality. My mother used to always tell me, Dudley, I think you're a coffee table dancer. And anybody who has treasures they've had for years and years and years are constantly just reliving their own life or their own grandmother's house or their own mother's taste. I get up in the morning and I'm happy to look at pretty things. I love my house. I think it's a beautiful place.
A man on TV made the statement the other day that his mind belonged to his work, his heart belonged to his family, but his soul belonged in the woods. And that's about the way I am. I've always loved to mess with wood ever since I was a child.
Welcome to the home of John and Patsy Forrester. John, a retired industrial engineer from North Carolina, built this house and enjoys filling it with his handcrafted furniture. For John, sculpting furniture is not only a way of passing time, it's also a labor of love.
After I retired, I really didn't have anything special to do. I just messed around. It takes you about a year to settle into anything. And I got to know the boys at a local sawmill. I got to looking at the wood laying around there. And my grandson needed a bedroom suit. So I told my wife, I said, I'll build him one. And she liked it so good, she said, sell ours and build me one.
The equipment started coming in and the thousands of dollars started going out. And then the electricity bill started rising because all the equipment does require electricity. So we pay double electricity, but we have fun doing it.
This is the bedroom suit that I built for my grandson. Took probably 2 weeks just to make the curved pieces of wood for the headboard footboard. And one of these days he'll get married, so I built it pretty substantial. If he marries a big woman, it'll hold her up. I don't like just any kind of wood. It has to be special. Most of the wood that I get, the trees are close to 100 years old. And almost all of it was destined for the landfill or the wood stove. I don't buy lumber. I start with the logs because it's interesting to me to see what they look like. I get the surprise when you open one up and see it's pretty wood on the inside.
I didn't pay any attention to wood until John started to build furniture. Now, when I look at trees, I have a different feeling for them. When it's cut and you see where the worms have eaten away or live there, you see the chips maybe that have come from various animals or insects, it just has special meaning. And the artistic effect that it shows is just gorgeous. John made this just for me, and I love it. It's got a lot of special meaning. I think that John just has a wonderful talent of creation of beautiful furniture. I think that's the reason he does such pretty work. He loves what he's doing.
When I go to bed at night, it takes me about an hour to go to sleep. I don't drop right off. That's when I do my thinking for about an hour before I go to sleep. And I'll start with the basics and mentally work my way all the way through a piece of furniture on exactly how I want to build it. Well, the next morning, I've got it all figured out. I just go to the shop and start cutting. You can look at a piece of furniture and tell what a man's character is. When people look at it, they know that you're well aware of how wood reacts when you work it. And it does some pretty amazing things sometimes.
Every piece that I know that I can think of that John has built is, I think, here to stay to the end of the world.
You know, every man should leave something in this world for people to remember him by. I'm gonna leave enough furniture to where it'll be hard for them to forget Grandpa.